So, I randomly got sucked into the rabbit hole of Five Nights at Freddy's lore, and I figured I would jump on the opportunity that while any of it still makes sense to me, I'll make a video. I have not actually had the chance to play the games, but I have seen the playthroughs, in some cases multiple times. Everything I know comes from what I have seen, and some from what others have spoken about already. I have never read the books, and while plenty of people point out that the books can be used to make sense of certain things in the games, not as canon, same universe type stuff, but as, continuity markers? This is possible in this timeline, so it may be possible there, and thus this vague thing now makes sense, right? Well, not for me. That is exactly where I get lost. Every bit of lore and theory string I have on this franchise comes from the games and the games alone. So based on what I have seen and, heard from other people's videos, what can I surmise? These are my personal opinions, thoughts, and theories, as well as defense of other theories I like. And I may even have some of the lore wrong, so feel free to correct me. But by this point, does it even matter if we literally can't keep up with the canon and every second of Freddy's universe just feels like its own little thing? Here we go anyways. Starting from where the story technically leaves off, because I feel like that holds the most openness to speculation, we look to Help Wanted 2, Ruin, and Security Breach. These three titles seemed to bring about a new step in FNAF, a future maybe none of us expected after the seeming end of William in that one game where he burned. I don't remember which number that was. I gotta say, I loved watching MatPat theorize for Security Breach, but I was disappointed in the theorization that Gregory was a killer robot child being controlled. I won't even elaborate on that. You're gonna have to go watch his Ultimate Timeline playlist. But I don't like it mainly because it leans heavily into the book's canon and relied on those facts to explain Gregory's character. It confuses me as someone who can't keep up with every bit of Five Nights at Freddy's thing that's out there. I personally like the idea of him being just Gregory, or him being a symbol or representation. The children always die, or the story always revolves around the involvement of life being taken. Whether or not the player sees it, there are new stakes in Security Breach because you play as a child and you need to survive. This time, the killer won't get what they're after. Gregory, as the child that the story was then circulating around, would be a symbol for the innocence that would this time escape the grasp of evil and not fall. Interestingly also, I've heard that his design is eerily similar to that of Crying Child, or Evan as some have come to call him, even though I'm not still sure if that name revelation is canon. A little bit before that, I had heard a different theory about Michael Afton's soul not being gone, but rather living inside of Glamrock Freddy. Now, let me tell you why I love that theory so much. In the Security Breach trailer, we see Freddy malfunction on stage, and oddly enough, it seems to be when he spots Gregory in the crowd. Sorry, this is entirely my mistake. I confused the lore, as I totally figured I would end up doing, with something that MatPat had theorized, which was that maybe Freddy saw Gregory in the crowd, because Gregory seems to be more involved with the Pizza Complex, or the Pizzaplex, whatever it's called, just a little bit more than the game lets on, so he probably frequents it and Freddy may have seen him. It is not shown in the trailer, sorry. If Gregory has some resemblance to Evan, maybe this triggered something for Freddy/Michael. Maybe Michael's soul was even in some type of dormant state, unable to fully possess the animatronic due to the circumstances of his death, and I'll get to that in a moment. I love the parallel that Michael's soul, after the grief and regret of his actions causing Evan's death, that he gets to reach some part of redemption and helping Gregory in this big brother, little brother team up. I always felt sad for Michael because he spent his life rotting away in search of his father, trying to stop the madness and free the souls trapped in torment. I like the idea that he finds some peace. I like that he might find some healing. Now, on to what I meant about his circumstances of death not allowing him to fully possess the Glamrock animatronic. William seems to stay alive not only by remnant, but rage as well. Something about such strong emotions in the moment of passing, to me, kind of seems to play a part in how remnant works. If I'm not mistaken, my mind is already failing me. I don't know how theorists keep up with all this. This is just my terrible understanding of remnant that is probably wrong. But the children hunt the animatronics in the first game or games because the remnant or / maybe emotional charge connects them and traps them. And William figured that out, and that's maybe why he chose to run into the springlock suit when confronted by the spirits. He wasn't trying to scare the children ghosts into submission or back into their puppets. He knew that if anything happened to him, he would
always come back.
Because he too would be connected to an animatronic through remnant. Now, when Michael dies in the fire, finally having completed his mission of stopping his evil father, he isn't wearing a suit, but he is surrounded by the animatronics his father created. He is within proximity of remnant. I believe it was in Sister Location, or around that time anyway, that this Molten Freddy character was revealed. A jumble of previous animatronic parts, I believe, brought to life by remnant and seemingly possessed by rage itself, a sense of revenge even. This may have been entered though, I can't remember, but my point still stands. Michael didn't seem to have any rage or intense fear when he passed. He seemed content with the results of his mission. But what if it isn't just a strong emotion that plays a part, but a sense of purpose? The children could not move on, tied to remnant because of the emotions felt during passing, but also because they had not truly lived. They still had whole lives ahead of them, so a sense of purpose also ties into making remnant work. William had a sick sense of purpose, but it was still present. And Michael had a purpose too. He dedicated his life to stopping the evil that had been behind the root of all his family's problems. And maybe unknowingly, even though he resigned himself to death, his purpose was not fulfilled. If William could come back, remnant would hold on to Michael as well. William is Michael's purpose, and is where he directed all his emotions. So if William can't die, then neither can Michael. That took forever. Anyway, Michael's soul is seemingly dormant in Freddy because William is in another form, Glitchtrap. He is undetectable, unrecognizable. So while Michael is present, he did not have a strong enough reason to be conscious until a memory was kicked around at the sight of Gregory, who reminds him of his little brother Evan. And perhaps Michael is still not fully conscious, or does not remember all the details of his past. He believed his mission was complete, so he decided to try to rest in peace, maybe resting for so long that he forgot the strong emotions he felt towards his father, and his life's mission to stop him. That could be why Freddy just seems like an AI come to life, because Michael has no memory of who he is. He only knows the program he is tangled in, Glamrock Freddy. Even if William, his conscience, or some form of him as a program like Glitchtrap keep returning, something will always counter him, right? There is always some good in the FNAF universe, right? What if the balanced William is Michael, as we kind of saw in the first few games? Now this theory does still make me a bit sad because as long as William decides to not just stay spiritually 6 feet under, Michael can't rest in peace. If he is tied to his father's endeavors, then he will be forced to stick around through Remnant as well. But I like that it could be this way as well. William wanted to twistedly create the perfect whatever the heck he was after, but his first creation won't let him get away with it. It makes it strangely family-centered in a way. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is my understanding of the lore way off? Do you like, hate, or not understand this theory? Tell me why. I welcome discussion from all sides, and this is all just for fun after all.